And now for the footer, which is an overlooked and neglected, oftentimes badly neglected element of a website, but it's actually quite important. Now the footer is where all your legal or contact information or your social media icons and things like that go. So I have already done some prep work here. I have changed the footer design. I have selected this here because you can select different styles for the footer as well as the header, obviously. I made the background completely black, and the center background I made a little bit gray, to give it a little bit more interest. And then I added all of the information that needs to go in here. So, I made this text a little bit smaller. Now the default text of this website is 22 points. The paragraph 1 in the site styles here. The paragraph 1 is, let's see, it's 22 pixels. But I made this smaller because we don't need to have it that big. So here it says, bu site bir eğitim aracı olarak Sabancı Üniversitesi'ne verilen veya 333 dersi kapsamında hazırlanmıştır. This site has been prepared as a tutorial for the VA 333 course. So that's like a disclaimer or informational content. Contact, I gave my own email address, which is public, so there's no problem giving it. Now, when you put an email address on a footer, then you should be sure that it is not your personal email address, but something that where people can contact you without really knowing who you are. That's quite important because the internet is not a place where the nicest people in the world hang out, so you want to be careful with that. But anyway, you can put your contact info in here, and then, very importantly, now we're using this logo here, and on the noun project it tells us that we need to give an attribution. If we use it larger than 100 pixels, which this is, I think, or pretty close, then we need to give an attribution. So I just had held on to the full copy of that. The way that I used it here, I only cropped it, but the information is still here, so here it is. So it was created by this person, Gregor Kresnar, so I also put that here. So it was created for the noun project by Gregor Kresnar. So now we can delete this. So, and then I have the social media icons, which I actually changed, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Now, what I have done between the last time that you were looking at this, which was when we were talking about the header, is I have actually added some content. So on the home page we have like a nice big image, and then we have a little bit of animated text, and then that entrance text that I've also used last year, I have that here, and then I put down guides, rulers. Look, the guides, and these are really, really important. The alignment is one of the most, if not the most important issue in graphic design, because alignment guides our eye. It's not just important for how something looks, but it's also quite important for how something functions, because when we have an alignment, our eyes can actually follow that alignment and go from one piece of information to the other much more easily. And the header and the elements on the header are good alignment points. So I put a ruler down here at the start of the menu, and then with the second word, and then of course on the left hand side of the logo, and I'm actually going to add one more here to the right hand side logo, because that could also be a very good place for alignment. Now, so this I'm going to align to the left hand side, and I'm just going to make it like a narrow column. Oh, and before I forget, you can make the footer as wide as you like. It can be very wide if you have a lot of information, or it can be very narrow. That's completely up to you. For me, this is probably going to be enough for my purposes. Now I'm going to take this here and put it over here, and then also align it from the top with the top of this text here. So it's already doing that with all the purple thingies, as you can see. And then this here can go here, but it can become narrower, and it can also go up, because I want to leave some room for the social media icons. Now, and you get those, and I'm going to show you how to configure those now. You get them from the social tab on the add to site menu, and I just got this one. I got this one and just put it on the page like so. I can put another one, but then I decided I didn't like these icons and I want something that has a little bit of white in it, and also I decided I want to have square icons. So what I did is, let me just delete this, just went in here and where it says set social links, I just changed the icons. And what I would need to do if I was really going to be using this, then I would need to of course change the email address here, so it wouldn't say Wix but for Behance it would say www.behance.com/ I'm not sure what my Behance tag is right now, but that's what it would say here. So I would go and find out what it is and then put that here, and then new window, obviously done, but I changed the icon. The icon, if you remember, cancel, done. Why did I delete that? The icons were round and then they were also transparent. So if I put them like this, you can see that they're transparent. They're black and then the inside is transparent. I don't want that. So what I did is I just went on FreePic and I got myself some square icons because that's what I wanted, and then I downloaded them, opened them in Photoshop. In my case I have Photoshop, so I didn't use Photopea, and just made them black, and that was basically all I did. Now I have this one last one here, so I'm just going to change that in front of you. I uploaded them to Pinterest. Now I chose the social media things that I actually have myself. So you know, I don't have, I have Behance, I have YouTube, I have Vimeo, I have WhatsApp, I have Tumblr, which I use quite a lot actually, and I also have Pinterest that I also use quite a lot. So I have funny ones. I don't have the usual ones, but hey, what can I tell you? Now I can make the icon size bigger, which I am in fact going to do a little bit, and I'm going to lessen the spacing. I don't want it to be that much spaced, but then I'm going to actually do something else. I'm going to make a duplicate of this because I want them to not be this long line. I want them to be more square. Now I'm going to go and delete the last three here. Done. And then here I'm going to go, delete the first three. And now I have all of them, but I have them in two separate little boxes. And I'm just going to set this here, and then set this here, and then I'm going to align the top of this with the top of that, center it in the footer roughly. And now let's take a preview and let's look at how this actually looks. So that's what the footer looks like in my case. Yours will obviously look different. I just noticed that I need to probably either open up the footer a bit so that it looks a little bit more comfortable, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to group these, and then after I group them I'm going to center them to the footer. Now they're centered. And then I'm going to realign all of these here. So let me see, I want to align this to the bottom of that text, and I just managed to do that. And then this here, I'm going to just give one more line so that everything is now nicely aligned. And here we are. Here's the footer. Let me just try one more thing because I'm getting obsessive here. Let me just take all of these because these are now nicely aligned, so I don't want to disrupt that, and just center them again on a slightly narrower footer because I think it was a bit too wide. So that's it. Now normally you don't see the footer, it's all the way at the bottom. However, just like every element on Wix, you can actually freeze the footer. So if I do this, then this will always be visible on the page. So let's just look at that, see how that works out. So the footer is always visible. Now we would not be doing that with a footer like this, which is just an informational content footer and also quite wide. So why would we do that? We wouldn't do that, so we would just leave it as it is. However, there are situations where you might in fact think about doing that, and I'm going to show you one right now. I have a subsite called Trivial Things, and there what I have done is I have actually used the footer as the header. So I don't have a header at the top. I just have, this is like, all it is it links to all of these projects that I made over the years. And then at the bottom I have this, and this is the header. And if I click on different pages, let me just find one, like let's say this one here, then that stays. That's the header. It's always there, and it's frozen. It doesn't move, but it's made out of a footer. So that's one way you can also use the footer. You can use the footer for a header if you want to get really ambitious like I did over there. So that was it for the footer tutorial, and I'll see you later.